I was gonna like I was going to introduce my poems, but I think they kind of introduce me. My words do anyway. They're better than my spontaneous speech. Anyway, so this is Circus of Circles. I'm a circle in a circus of circles. That means I'm a bit different. Weird, idiosyncratic, or whatever other synonym there is to describe the jigsaw pieces that just don't fit into the societal image of acceptability. An image made of squares, neutrality, painted in solid tones, black and grey squares, the foundations to the buildings we stand in. We need the stability of squares. They hold structure. Like the body skeleton maintains the functioning of everything, we need narrow thinking and corners. The world couldn't be run by free thinkers. Squares are the boundaries to society. Boundaries offer safety. But I'm a circle. In a circus of circles, our colors are bold. Together, we're vibrant purple and gold, greens and yellows, creating the most unique piece of art, an eccentric Mona Lisa, a poem that's bizarre. I'm a circle in a circus of circles, but please don't be intimidated by my vibrancy. Allow my color to complement your tone. I will add complexity to the painting, but I don't want to take over, only add texture. I'm a circle in a circus of circles, yearning and learning and earning with love, a wreckage of psychology, a juxtaposition, a product of potential that's fearful of success. Circles feel different, alien to Earth, outsiders with no fixed abode. Circles in a square world, breaking the boundaries in a culture of simplicity. Circles shine bright. Not everyone owns shades. We sometimes hurt their eyes. Blinded by the embers of us, we dance in their pupils. That's why not everyone will respond with a smile. But friend, shine. Circles ignite with passion. I found my salvation when I stopped poking corners into my being and embraced my colors. Apathy for me works a whole lot better than therapy. Apathy was the answer to the glaring gaze of the critic, my friend. How easy it is for them to live in rigidity. They were born with corners. We were fluid energy circuits, just trying to conform, molding who we are to receive a softer rejection, spending years mixing paint, trying to create grey. We long to belong, we are social shapes. But I dream of a world of colourful geometry. So that's Circus of Circles. Um, most of the work I'm reading tonight, it's new stuff. Circus of Circles is just my staple. It's kind of me. Um, so this poem is called Old Laundry, and it's a true story. It's a bit of a mad poem, but it's called Old Laundry. I went spinning before I could drive, tumble dried unintentionally. I wonder if my frontal lobe was scrambled. I crawled inside, my twin pressed on, exploring the cave of socks. I don't remember it. We were young. All I know is that I spun and I spun. Thankfully, not long enough to main. From then on, my mother used a clothes horse with 6 wains under four. There were 12 curious steps for two frantic hands. Yeah, that happened when I was two. um, so this poem I only wrote a few days ago, and it's called Sishgil, which is Irish for fairy tale. Um, there once was a little girl who believed in fairies and pixies, wizards and witches with vindictive wishes. She wasn't wrong. She ate poisonous apples for breakfast. Would karate chop Prince Charming, punished for chasing the white rabbit, then banished to her tower? It's okay. Cheshire always found her. Towards the Mad Hatter, she would run barefoot through the woods as high as the stars shine, offering her direction to Tweedledum, a light to combat the night. She asked questions without waiting for answers, curiouser and curiouser, but too curious for her ears. Explained away silence, she is worried she will lose her gift to the sickness. She fought the venom of the myth, sat in a cage in her heart, awaiting the eruption of the ticking love bomb. Following on from that, waving from afar. She was a kaleidoscope of colours, living in the mystic mount, not because she was aloof. She had severed roots. Her feet would sink when on the ground. Swallowed by soil, she chose flight. Her home is a grove. How her frail frame fused into the oak. Alas, now composed, she would throw primroses from the peak, saddened that the corolla wrinkle before they land. Luckily, nature is bendy. An ugly blossom never blooms. Place my petals in your palm. Yet, loneliness will stalk even the proudest prey. The trees, they can't answer back. Climbing. It feels like I'm on top of this world, but I'm all alone. Staring down at the routine of others' daily disciplines, I bungee jumped up here with a double espresso and fretfulness. Why? Gravity felt too real, so I'll sit here in the trees, stitching my passions into wings to fly away from the facts of the soil. One day I'll soar towards the moon. The beam of Luna beckons with a promise of companionship. Um, yeah, so they're kind of in a series. On a different note, this is hiding in plain sight. And I wrote this about a good friend of mine. I call him like my dad of the streets. He's a really cool person. He's lived in a tent for the last, I think, 15 years it's going on now. I've known him about 4 years now. And he helped me, and he's a mentor, and he's been through a lot and he knows a lot. He also knows what not to do. So he's um yeah. A pothole left in spit and rain. The coins collected turned to rust. A cup full of water and coppers. 10 cents is an insult in this economy. 3.50 is the fee for coffee. You'll smile despite and gather, knowing the stranger meant well, and still shoot me a knowing glance, a penny spent on her conscience, not your breakfast. You're still grateful. A house doesn't make you immune to poverty. Majority of us are broke these days, yet you share your sandwich with the wagon tail sniffing your combat boots and keep a sausage in your pocket for the neighbor's Jack Russell. Will offer me the pastry the little old lady bought you with her pension. You can't eat it. Homeless sadly does not cater for gluten intolerance. Stay safe, I whisper, as you leave the couch on cement for your tent with your crutch and cup of dosh. Dressed in camouflage, you hobble towards the birches, ready to swat the spiders sharing your sack with a book and tobacco-stained thumbs. This one is called Bleeding Drum. My gift, it's giving, till every inch of my being is bled clean of prosperity. This affliction is self-imposed. I trust my heart fort, a hummingbird lost, to the pulsating pump of a gull's grief. I stuff my warmth into the cavity where a heart should beat, and I call it love. Um, this one is called Naive. Um, it's also a story, kind of like yeah, I kind of I write from experience, and this is yeah. You met me in a pub bordering the north. A 40-something odd man with muddy locks. I ignored the fins swimming in your iris, took the bait of your talent. With my passion, I followed paint into peril like a lamb. But less innocent, I sought shelter from the tempest in the Reynard's den. More sacrificial than vulnerable, I chose acrylics over intentions. Together, we created magic, painted the children's ward and portraits of spirits departed, passion projects, helping filling potholes with pigments. And I know your heart wanted more than brushstrokes. But I was 19. You were 40 some. The weeks went on. Caution began seeping into the crevices. I listed my boundaries with subtle clarity, not wanting to hurt your feelings. A lamb begging not to be eaten. I felt inferior next to your art degree. Your accuracy in sketching made me dream. I wanted to paint residents in hospice with your lines and my colour. This goal, it was never achieved. You basked in my wide-eyed credulity, centuries of added experience with glee and ravenous needs. I would start to back away from your clasp and you'd laugh, knowing if you reminded me about the energy when we create and renovate pain, illuminating society with Posca pens. Oh, to be young and naive. Um, Ignoring red flags, lured by the whisper of dreams, dancing with a man lost to his lust. Um, this one is called Ink. I wrote this about 3 years ago. I wrote it on a beach in the middle of, I think it was October. So what what season is that? Is that August? Is it? No, it was cold. That's all I know. And I did have a coat, and it was 3 a.m. And it was a so I only had my pen basically. And it's called Ink. It rained last night. A vivid flow of sorrow, a memory caught in my throat, the strangulation of tomorrow. The bars on my ribcage shake with screams. If these bones shatter, will I be set free? I meditate to medicate. When man rejects, I stare at the sea. In the nothingness, I am hidden, yet I finally feel seen. I write so I don't go blind. I fill my page with light, words from the lips of someone wiser. Ink runs through my veins, metaphors bleed onto the page. But these words, they're for me. I want to see. I burn my composure, unveil my vulnerability, just as my pen runs out of ink. Stiff, step by careful step, grieving limbs, mourning ease. Footprints gathered like coins in a casino, an active weep, mangled muscles press and rest, the meals of my calcaneus, rusted, fractured fossils, twisted meat. Fraying. By a fickle string, I function, a fable of persistence, ingesting a deficit, enough units to reduce the clamor of scarcity to a gentle hum. Yet the murmur of need continues to bleat like a warning drum. I yearn, distorted. The mirror inspired the sculptor to carve a winding staircase around her lungs, as if beauty was a wilting rose, pending. The choir of hunger stalks away slumber, but I've already counted my coins, closed the tills for the night per request of the boss. Penance. It feels like penance, a confiscation of sustenance to create distance from grievance, like a fatigue test of endurance found in a calculator's punch. I count sectioned through the stretch of skin. I live in a kingdom of nothing fading in this empty cavern with blurred vision, unfurnished and sharp edges. Nonetheless, the walls, they're painted, scintillating, but vacant. But color won't choke needs. The choir of appetence vibrates against the bars on my ribcage. Will these bones shatter? No forks left. Without butter, regard wavers. No bread, no breath. Oh, how I know tomorrow yearns for a swallow, but I've forgotten how to chew. Discipline, an illusion of ground gained through my refusals. Violence can be denial. Empty can drown. My mother, Momuncher. Stellar voices with a fork. Reasoning against restrictions with no numbers, just love. I'm sorry if the food goes stale, wasted on my stitched lips. Absorbing is committing that feels more permanent than withering. Handcuffed, I starve the source, dodge the sirens, and somehow I'm in the morgue. HSE hugs. HSE is the healthcare system in Ireland. I wrote this for 14-year-old Aoife. I'm 22 now, but this is for her. I'm hardened by the discipline of chicken wing holes and volume, a puberty of contorted limbs clenched against hindering thumbs, in the name of safety bruised, my bones brittle against the hold. Once you stop struggling, we will let go. Stubborn, I refuse to listen. Tell me, how do you relent to pretzeled limbs as fraught feet click in frantic flight? Submission never came easy for this haunted child. The free spirit, ward of court. My heart yearns, while my mind dwells, for liberation. Liberation from the restraints imposed by the state. I am energy so free and abundant, and I crave distance from the piercing eyes of the system. Give me the sky, I will soar. Bring me a melody, I will sing. A free spirit forced to fit into a square box, a hammered, bent, misfit, vivid and vibrant. My bodyguards are deaf to this boho screams. I can't abscond in present, but in spirit I am free. You can cage my body, but not my mind. You can dictate my actions, but you can't compose my soul. You can't tame me. I will break free. But first, I will hug recovery. Um, do my words make you squirm? They're meant to evoke thought, not hurt. Don't let my metaphors cause a puncture. I'm sorry if sorrow seeps into my prose. My ink swims in tragedy, penetrating similes and riddles from a past riddled. Listen, I wrote this in response to someone who said they're going through something at the moment, and they said, "You have a bit more living to do. You're only 22." It was so. Ironically, they're not that much older than me. They're only a few years older than me, but I've got a bit more living to do. But anyway, this is my response. Your added years do not make your eyes wider than mine. The spirit, it's ageless. The mind sculpted through knowledge, experience adds and subtracts to wisdom. Time will either make you wise or blind. Your history gives you depth, yes. Each year is an apple to disperse. Share the lessons of sprained ankles, life a test of trial and conquest. You spent more time juggling equilibrium than I. I do value your victories and relish in your truths. Duration is substance. But don't discount my opinion because you have blew out more candles than I. Yes, I never saw the 90s, but believe me, I still remember Barney. I love you, you love me. We're a happy family. The separation between generations, it's ignorance. It's just ignorance. And I'm gonna leave you on this poem that I wrote only the other day, and it's called Together, and it's just quite a fun one. Imagine a world of light, where knights fly over fight, kings dance with peasants, and queens work in stores. A gift is a handshake, and laughter is a cure. If smile was currency, would we all be rich in grins? If land did not have stamps, and a flag was just a handkerchief used to wipe our children's knees, would there still be conflict? If we built cabins instead of walls and shared our forks without scorn, would the potholes still bother you? A tent is never as disruptive as a bomb. Please, the wailing about debris from your two-story is tone deaf. There's no dust on your shoes. Thank you so much for having me.